Hey everybody, welcome to the Local Marketing Institute Q&A live with your hosts, Greg Gifford and Ben Fisher. Next, please. And again, redundant, but Greg, you can reach him at Greg Gifford on Twitter. And with me, you can reach me at The Social Dude. DMs are always open. If you need any help, if you have any questions, if you just want to say hi, go ahead and send us a DM. Next, please. And if you're not already a member, please join us on Facebook at the Local Marketing Institute Connect, where we've got a bunch of really smart people, including all of you who are here today. Thank you. But yeah, join us there and you can interact with our community, ask questions, share news, do whatever you like. And finally, please join us by downloading our podcasts on Apple, Google, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Next. I think we're done. All right. Okay, so today we are going to switch up the format just a little bit. It's not that big of a shakeup, but basically I'm just going to go ahead and cover news, and then we're going to go ahead and jump straight into all of the questions that we got. And we're going to start with questions that we had left off last week. All right. So first piece of news is that we have a little bit of news. Okay. So I put out an article here on Local U, and this was basically an update to what is going on with the missing reviews, basically. And what I did was there's a link to the article. What I did was I went ahead and surveyed about 100 businesses that said reviews were being left, that the customers can see them, but they can't, and they're not showing up on their profile. What I found out is that in 70% of those cases, they were using the link from the Google Business Profile Manager dashboard. That's the short link that Google gives you to get a review. So, that's where the majority of the cases that I've seen basically are filtering out reviews. So my recommendation is at this point is until Google thoroughly investigates this and figures out exactly what's going on, is to just go ahead and guide your customers to do a search for your business name with your geo. So in other words, Greg's Underwater Basket Weaving Company, San Diego. So, and then basically you'll have a better chance of them actually showing up. And of course, as always, if you are getting filtered, if you do indeed have problems, and that's not fixing it, you can always come to the community and a product expert can go ahead and raise that issue. All right. So the next up is going to be a product post bug. Now, what's kind of neat about this one is that this is actually, it was a bug, actually. So what we saw happening here is that product posts, you would go into the Google Business Profile Manager dashboard. I still hate saying that. That's ungodly long.
It's still awkward,
Business Profile Manager, right? GPP, whatever. Anyway, so you would go in and it would say, hey, product posts are moving now. You have to go into Merchant Center and set up a feed, basically, for these to work. It sounded like a really cool idea at first, but caused a ton of confusion. Anyway, Google came back. Some news outlet reached out to them. It was probably Barry. And basically said, nope, sorry, this is a bug. So don't worry about it. Product posts are still here to stay. All right. Next up, we have something that is a news item about Justifications, and they're showing up on mobile.
What would should we ask Barry if that's something new?
We should actually. We should totally.
It's new.
Oh, thank you, Barry. We appreciate you. So with this is basically what I believe Joy saw this. And so if you go into Maps on your mobile device, you'll now see little justifications showing up underneath the name of the business. Now, don't know if it's a test or not. I haven't actually looked for myself today, but if true, it's pretty cool, right? Because it also helps you justify all of the stuff that you're doing with your Google business profile. as we know, justifications can come and show for anything from services, products, mentions on your website, reviews, posts. I think that's actually about it. But either way, it's just another reason why you should be doing things. And then last but not least, what we have is Darren Shaw over at WhiteSpark, our friends, have developed something which is basically a duplicate finder. And this is included if you have their ranking service, rank tracking service. It's pretty cool, actually. And so if you're working with a client that has, say, tons of locations, it'll actually show you all those locations and their respective ranking for whatever keywords you're looking at. But what's really cool about it is like if you load it onto a client that is, say, in the healthcare industry, right? It'll pull up all the duplicates that the tool can find. And this, of course, is going to help you with your workflow. It won't take care of the duplicates for you, but it at least will point them out and give you a link to them so you can see them. And with that, Greg, we have a question for you.
Actually, for me.
Hold on. Let's round this out. Do you have anything you want to talk about with this news?
No. I mean, you hit all the news. I don't have any other new news other than that. Other than I am super pumped for Local U and hanging out with everyone and you in person in a month.
Yes, exactly. God, man, it's been a while since we've seen each other, hasn't it?
We haven't seen each other. I think the last time we hung out was when we went to dinner in San Jose, and that was early 2020.
Yeah. Jeez.
Long time.
It's been a long time. Jeez. Yeah. And we're going to have some fun. We haven't decided exactly what we're going to do yet, but what we are thinking about doing is doing either probably live interviews at Local U. So it'll be a fun event. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, damn right, Andy. Healthcare, fun. All right. So, question for you, Greg. For businesses that have well-optimized listings, strong reviews, optimized sites with local content, and otherwise following the best practices for local, what other actions can be done to move the needle?
Well, my first question would be, what do you mean by move the needle? What is this person using to judge success? Hopefully they're not judging success by rankings, because rankings aren't a judge of success. They should be looking at organic traffic and inbound leads. And so if they're talking about what can we do to increase traffic and leads, look at the website. We're talking about a well-optimized listing, which I assume they're talking about Google Business Profile, strong reviews. Okay, great, cool. Those are checked off. Optimized site with local content. Okay, just because your site is optimized and it's got local content doesn't mean you've got everything on your site you need to have. Always keep the idea in your head when you're looking at the content on your site. Think, is this the best answer to this question that the searcher would be asking about this topic in the local area? Just because you've got a page of content doesn't mean it's the best answer in the local area and that it's well written and well optimized. So do that first. Typically, most sites are missing a significant amount of content. So make sure you've got the content there for every concept that you want to show up for, that it's well written and that it's the best answer. And then there's nothing here about links. Links still matter. So get some local links. That would be another huge win there. And then also look at the kinds of content that's on your site, because if everything is bottom of the funnel revenue generating main menu type content, and you don't have any blog content or any mid funnel or early funnel content, then you're really only going to show up as a search result if somebody is looking to buy right now. And the more expensive your product or service is, the more people are going to do research before they submit a lead somewhere. So you want that mid and early funnel content and even pre-funnel content, discovery content on the blog that's just purely informational. That's not buy right now. So look at all of that. Make sure all of that is done. That's probably going to be the best thing to help you going forward. What do you think, Ben? Anything else to add to that?
The only thing I have to add to that is you probably should have led that off with it depends.
Oh, yeah. It depends.
Exactly. No, you did. That was awesome, dude. That was fantastic, man.
So the next question is for you. And the question is, Is it possible to get a listing to rank in the 3-pack for 2 different categories? Example, we have a client that focuses on divorce and family law, but also practices personal injury and wants to rank high locally for both.
The short answer is yes. A Google business profile can absolutely rank for multiple categories. One's going to usually tend to be more dominant than the other. So for instance, if family law or, is really what they want to focus on, you would just make that your primary category. Also kind of incidentally, you probably would want to link to the homepage for this one and showcase both of the service lines. So that's really the short answer. There's not that much to this one. You got anything you want to add to that?
No, yeah, that's a super easy one. There's no reason you couldn't rank for multiple things.
Yeah. And I guess the only other thing I would say is that, well, no, never mind. Anyway, there's nothing else to add to that. All right. Well, then over to you, my friend. Okay. So
give me a good one.
All right. I own a law firm. Actually, I don't own a law firm that nominates for organic local in my community of 800,000 people. I plan on launching a mediation service to negotiate settlements in the same field of law. Both businesses will operate from the same physical address. How can I rank locally under divorce lawyer with both businesses having the same physical address? How can I accelerate organic and local rank growth for mediation business? Bunch of little questions there.
Yeah, this ties right into what we just answered with the last question, though. There's no reason you couldn't have both businesses rank well. So I think he's probably leaning more along the lines of setting up a new business profile and having 2 business profiles at the same address. There's not really any reason to do that because you could put all of the content about mediation on the same site for the firm that you already have and just add the mediation categories into your Google business profile. And then you're going to rank based on whatever the intent of the potential client's searches would be. There's really no reason to make it more complicated than that. Add stuff to the current site, add stuff to the current profile. Now, if for whatever reason you did want to set up a different business, question is, are you even eligible to do so? Because it's the same law firm. You're just offering different services. So really, you're not eligible to have a second listing at the same address. So I guess there really isn't a second part, right? That's just the answer. Add it to your current stuff.
Exactly. So I love the straightforward questions today. All right. And speaking of questions, if you have any questions, go ahead, please, and click on the Q&A, and we will go ahead and we will absolutely get your questions. Thank you, Kathleen. Saw your question. We'll get you.
And the next question is for you, my friend.
All right, let's do it.
And the question is GBP suspensions, abnormal amount, which isn't really a question, but comes from a dude named Greg. And as we all know, Gregs are cool. So we'll give him a pass on not asking the question in the form of a question. But the additional details have the actual question, which is, we have been noticing GBP being suspended at an unusually high rate and usually for no reason. Have you been experiencing this too?
No. So we handle at Steady Demand, we handle hundreds of suspensions a month. So we have pretty good data on what's going on as far as suspensions, even sometimes in the categories that are occurring. But to answer your question directly, no, nothing new. There really isn't. The amount of suspensions has not increased or decreased or anything like that. The amount of time turnaround as far as, when you hear back on a decision on a suspension also has not changed at all. It's currently right now in a 5 to 7 business day type of period to get back a response. If you don't get back a response, that means that there's a big issue going on usually. But yeah, no, as far as no reason goes, there's always a reason. So just take that into for what it's worth. And sometimes that reason is literally just something that they call an integrity check. An integrity check is just basically a way of Google saying, you know what, we want to make sure that you're really actually a real baby boy. So they're basically going to shut your listing down, and you just have to submit a reinstatement. Kind of unfair, but it is what it is. Anyway, that's it actually on that. And so let's see. So we have a question for you, Mr. Greg. Can you merge a business listing and a practitioner listing? I have a situation where the attorney is outranking the business and appearing first in the local pack.
Man, I'm loving all these easy answer questions we're getting today. This one's an easy one. No, you can't do it. Sorry. So instead, I would do some analysis and see why that practitioner listing is outranking the actual listing. We've seen questions like this before, and a lot of times it's the practitioner listing is just better optimized and there's more content there and they've got more categories, and you go back and look at the actual business listing and there's a single category and hardly any content. Pay more attention to the main listing, optimize that, and things should sort itself out.
Exactly. And we see this in real estate all the time, by the way. But this is a core problem to practitioner listings. So the guidance that I usually like to give here is look, yes, of course you want to have your practice, right? But Google prefers practitioners. So what should you do? Well, move your practitioner listing, move it to a home of the owner or something like that. And that way, at least they're not going to interfere with each other. Which is basically what you're talking about happening right here. And let's see. We also have a follow-up here from, let's see, the other cool Greg. So other cool Greg, yeah, you're saying that back to the previous question, they're mostly being suspended when you make an update or a change. Yes, exactly. So whenever you make an update or a change to your Google Business profile, you have an increased likelihood, especially depending on category, by the way. So like if it's personal injury, if it is a garage door or locksmith or real estate, things like that, to trigger that integrity check. So again, suspensions, very, very, very normal happening. Please, by the way, I see some questions are being asked in the chat. If you could move those questions over to the Q&A, that would be super duper helpful.
Our next question's for you, though, and it ties into the last question that we had. So this one's from Lynn, and the question is, for GBP real estate, the office account versus agents. Each agent have their own, or should each agent have their own account in addition to the office account? What are the best practices for agents? In Texas, agents work under the broker or office and must include the broker's business name. What's the best way to name the agent GBP account? Several questions there.
Yeah. So
let's hit the first one first. Should each agent have their own GBP in addition to the office GBP? In other words, should the agents have practitioner listings?
The answer is yes. They should. They should have their own practitioner listing. I mean, if you're being forward facing, you want to get reviews, etc., it belongs to you. It doesn't actually belong to the broker. So even though in this case you have to use the broker's name, which is fine, you can do that as well as broker dash your name. However, I'm going to go back to the same advice I just made, and that is set it up at your home, not actually the actual office, because what you will end up happening is you could create a duplicate really quick. And now the practice, your broker, is now a duplicate. So that can happen. Suspensions, you could mass suspend all of the agents and the brokerage. That could happen too. So remember, the rule of thumb for adding listings at a same location goes something like this. Is the first thing is it has to have its own separate entrance. Okay. So think about how many doors that you have and how many offices that you have. Own phone numbers, of course, and its own dedicated workspaces. Maybe this is going to be true in some cases, but again, you're going to have the issue of duplicates, suspensions, and then ranking issues. So having it at your home is going to be the best idea. There we go. That's answering actually all of the question there.
All of the above.
Yes. There's a couple questions here in the chat that I just want to knock out very quickly. And so let's see. Let's see, where do we go back to? This is why we use the Q&A, by the way, everybody. Okay, so we're just going to go to Doug. Can you run a plumbing business out of your home and show the address? Does not showing the address make a difference in ranking? You want to take this one or shall I?
Go ahead.
Okay. It's another simple one, actually. So the answer is of course you can run a plumbing business out of your home. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, most plumbers do. However, showing the address, probably not a good idea. And reasoning for that is going to be is that do you really want somebody showing up at your home at 10 o'clock at night to ask you plumbing questions? You probably don't. Also, depending on where you live, the rules, like in most HOAs, you can't show signage. So if you can't show signage, you can't show your address. Plain and simple. However, yes, there is a ranking detriment to not showing your address. So, if you can get a place for a storefront, you probably should do that.
Doug had another good one up in chat if we want to do that one as well.
Go for it.
Bring it out. So he said, when we were talking about adding a different listing for another office or whatever, he was following up to that and said, what if they want to be in multiple locations, Florida, Georgia, and New York, but only want to use one website? Can they use one business profile or should they get 3 separate ones? Doug, I'd be interested to know what kind of business we're talking about, because if you're talking about a business that just serves customers in random states, you're allowed to get 1 GBP per state, but you got to have an office there and it has to be a reason to get the GBP. You can't just get it because you say, well, I want to serve customers in this state as well. But if it's a legitimate multi-location business, heck yeah, you can totally get locations and use a single website. I mean, look at Home Depot and Lowe's and all those big box retailers. They have a single website, but they have a GBP for every location that they've got. So you could definitely set up a different profile for different locations.
Absolutely.
A single website.
Yeah, you just have to have that legal nexus. Okay, just to knock more of these out. Again, please.
Oh, he just answered wedding photography. So in the situation you want to serve multiple states with wedding photography, you're not really going to be able to do that. You could put content on your site to try to show up for a wedding photographer, but you're not going to be able to get another GBP for those other states because you don't have offices or locations in those other states.
And I'll just throw this out there because this is usually the second bartering question that comes on that. And that is, but can I use somebody else's home?
No.
The answer is no, for many, many reasons. And I guess I'll cover that really quick. So why can't you use somebody's home? Number one, you have to have authority over the location that the Google Business Profile is verified with. That's number one. Number two, you're going to have to get legal documentation that is going to expose that employee's home address in multiple ways. You might need a utility bill. You might need a business license. You might need a Secretary of State entry. You might need a BBB. But guess what? If it's at a home and you want to get reinstated, if there's a suspension, you will almost definitely have to have a video, which means you're going to have a video that is walking around inside of somebody else's home. And then the worst part is if they leave your company, which employees do, or get fired, now you're stuck, basically. Speaking of suspensions, I'll just tackle this one from chat really quick. Thank you for entering into the Q&A. We got a lot going on here. Okay, we're going to need to move on here really quick, dude. All right. Is there a legitimate way to suspend your own GBB profile so it no longer displays anywhere? This is actually something it's actually a tactic I use quite often. The answer is yes, Stephen, you can. However, there is an it depends. And that it depends is it depends on the category. So let's say you are a restaurant. Getting your restaurant GBP suspended it's almost impossible. Let's just put it that way. Locksmith, no problem. Change the category a couple times, change the phone number, do whatever you want, point it to, a malware page. I don't know, things like that. Absolutely will get you suspended.
Healthcare, he said.
Oh, healthcare. What part of healthcare? Rehab facility? Eye care. Yeah, you're probably not going to be able to suspend it. So what I would do is I would go in and change the categories and change the name. You could try that. If it doesn't work, just permanently close it. It'll drop off a search in no time. But change the name and also change the category so that way it doesn't show up for the searches that you care about. Got it. Okay. Let's see, Greg. What do we got here? 10:30.
Do we want to swap over to the Q&A section yet, or we want to do a couple more of the pre-asked questions?
Let's go with open questions and then move into, if we have some time, then move into our regular questions. How about that?
Cool.
All right. So we're going to start with you, buddy. Kathleen. Hi, Kathleen. Has a question for you. Tips for a plumber who wants to rank in 2 nearby cities in addition to the city which they're located.
So remember earlier, Greg didn't form his question or didn't ask his question in the form of a question, but he got a pass because he's a Greg. Kathleen's not a Greg, and she didn't ask it as a question. So unfortunately, Kathleen, we're going to move on to the next question. I'm kidding. Yeah. So the most important thing whenever I get the question about, hey, we're in this city, but we want to rank in these nearby cities. First thing I say is, how do you rank in the city you're actually in first? You got to own your backyard. If you don't have a solid enough SEO foundation to show up well where you're actually located, you're not going to be able to displace and outpace competitors in nearby cities, especially when we're talking about plumber, where there's pretty much everybody's probably going to be working from home. So they're going to have service listings, which means addresses aren't showing. Now you're trying to show up next city over, and you're increasing the amount of competition. So you're increasing the number of people that you're fighting against to show up well. Also keep in mind, when you're trying to show up in nearby cities, you should be targeting organic, not pack, because one of the most important factors in showing up in the pack is that you have an address in that city, which you won't have. So you won't be able to show up in pack searches. You could potentially show up in map search or in regular organic, but you got to look at the fact that there's a lot more competition because it's that city versus you, and you're not in that city. So you're going to have to do some really solid SEO. Now, that being said, if it is a more rural area and there's not as much competition, then sure, tips would be learn how to do city pages. There's actually a blog. I'll share the link in a second. I did a blog with a video on it that explains how to do city pages. When there's less competition or it's a more rural area, city pages are totally sufficient. If there is denser competition or it's a more metro type situation, you're going to go more advanced and do a tactic called local content silos, which is a lot more advanced. I will share a link to that as well. But basically, whenever you have your initial city and then your other cities you're targeting, you're going to have to create more content because you're going to need to have content optimized around those cities. You have to do more link building because you're going to want to get link building from those cities. And you're just going to have to do a lot more work to make that happen. If you don't know SEO really well, you're probably going to want to hire an agency or a freelancer to help you out.
Yep. And the only thing I'll add to that is that basically with the proximity update, most Google business profiles, unless like Greg was saying, they're in a rural type of area, will only rank for about 2 miles actually from your verified location. So if your other city is within 2 miles, it does actually have a chance of ranking, but it's really rare. All right. Stephen had a follow-up question for me. In the review study, did I find that all reviews that used the short link did not post, or was it sporadic? Excuse me, Stephen. It's sporadic. Absolutely. It's not like 100% hard pass. Yeah, that's really all there is to that. All right. Let's see. Ben,
All right. So the next one comes from Ben. Oh, actually, I guess if it's my question, I got those things sent out. So
yeah,
really, you should be asking me Ben's question. Sorry.
I will ask you Ben's question. By the way, Ben, great name. Just saying. Hey, we got 2 Gregs, we got 2 Bens. Dude, awesome. Okay. So, Mr. Holbrook, is there any way to find out what the address is on a service area based business when you control the Google business profile? The account was set up and we were granted access, and I don't know what the listing address. The profile was verified under. Yeah, unfortunately, if you had asked me this question around 2.5 years ago, I would have said, yeah, you can through the API. You just have to program it. However, that was ripped out for privacy reasons. And so, no, there is no way to find the address after you've done a verification for a service area based business. The only thing that you can do is reset it. And excuse me. And by resetting it, what I mean is entering the address that you want it to be verified at, get the verification postcard, verify the profile, and then clear the address. And that way you will have set the address as to what it is supposed to be. That's basically all you can do.
Did you know I was supposed to answer that question, right?
Oops.
You were reading it to ask me.
Oops.
But good answer, brother.
All right, this one's yours. Okay. So Stephen has a question. Is there a legitimate? Oh, they would do answer to that question. Jeez. Okay, fine. See, this is why people use Q&A. All right. All right. So Fern Kane has a question. I have a new business name in marketing. We answered this last week.
I thought we talked about this, but maybe Ferna wasn't here last week to hear our answer.
All right, let's go ahead and do it. All right. I have a new business name in marketing, but I go by my personal name on LinkedIn in case of any great job opportunities in marketing. I know we have to be consistent in the GMB, NAP, GBP. Can I just keep using my personal name on LinkedIn for GBP? It would be my business name ? And would GMB have a business name followed by a hyphen or and my personal name? I notice realtors do that a lot. Have fun with that grilled cheese sandwich.
So, okay. What you go by on LinkedIn should be your actual personal name, not your business name. If you want to represent your business on LinkedIn, you'd create a business page. So your personal LinkedIn would still be your thing. Your business would be a separate thing. But what you go by personally on LinkedIn has no influence on SEO for your site or your GBP. So it doesn't really matter. Like, keep your personal name on LinkedIn, keep your business name on your site and your business profile. But then you ask about having the business name followed by your personal name. No, because it's not the name of your business. And you're not a practitioner listing, which is what the real estate listings are, where practitioner listings are allowed to do that. But for your business listing, you're not allowed to stuff keywords. You can only name it what the business name is. So you wouldn't want to have your name there.
You got it. Excellent.
The next question for you comes from Vanessa. She gets 2 questions in a row. Oh, wait, you deleted the other one.
It was the same question.
Oh, was it? Her question is, if I have a template website, do I need a different one for SEO?
If you have a template website, do I need a different one for SEO? That's kind of a hard question to answer because I'm not sure exactly what you mean here, Vanessa. So if you have a template website, do you need a different one for SEO? No, because if you have you're going to have to rephrase that question because I'm not sure what you mean. Like, in other words,
Vanessa, pop into chat. Let us know, like, kind of clarify what you're asking for. I'm not sure because there's different ways that could go, because it could be like the WordPress template, right, or it could be you're using a Google website and maybe they're calling that a template website. I don't really know. So Vanessa, if you're still around, pop into the chat and clarify what you're asking.
Yeah,
but we'll leave that and come back. So instead, we'll ask you Doug's question. Oh, wait, we
That's a
already answered
follow-up.
that because that was in chat and he moved it down. We already answered that and we moved it. We already answered that. So Andy's question comes to you. Maybe. Wait, what just happened? Are you deleting stuff?
I am.
Oh, I didn't realize you were deleting. I'm trying to scroll down and stuff's moving around. Okay, Andy's question for you. Real estate agents. I've heard of real estate brokers that require that they be the owner of the GBP, not the agent. If the agent changes brokers, they lose their GBP. Is this something Google would not allow brokers to hold it hostage? But that's, oh, sorry. It's actually Trisha. She's hacking Andy. If you guys haven't been paying attention to the chat today, Trisha is apparently a crazy talented hacker, and none of us knew this in the past. And this would have totally come up when Trisha was our guest host last time, or guest host, or whatever we call it, guest on the show. Didn't know she had crazy hacking skills, but apparently she's hacked and appears to be Andy, but it isn't Andy. So she is asking the question, not Andy.
All right. Okay. All right. All right. So, so first of all, let's go over what you're hearing is incorrect. So the agent will own, quote unquote, their Google business profile, not the broker. The broker will own the brokerage or their independent practitioner listing, if they have one. I
think she's saying that brokerages are requiring that they own the practitioner listing of their agents.
Yeah, Google will not support that. Google will say, go pound sand, basically, if they try to hold it hostage. A practitioner can take their practitioner listing anywhere that they want. It's very portable. So no, Google will not allow them to take it hostage. There is a process and a workflow to get the ownership back, basically. Yeah, you got it. No problems, Trisha. Good question, though.
So Vanessa answered in chat that she said she had a WordPress template and an SEO provider said she needed a different format of website for SEO and more responsiveness.
Okay. So in that case, the answer is also pretty straightforward. You've got a website. Focus on that. You don't need a whole new website. You do need is a new template, because if the template is not responsive, it is going to hurt your SEO, especially on mobile. So I would just get a new template and basically have your SEO person install it. That's all. Very, very easy fix.
Yep.
All right. Doug has a question for you, buddy.
All right.
What about using a tracking number for the phone number in GBP because they have another business that uses their only number and they don't want to get another real number?
Well, getting a tracking number would be getting another real number because tracking numbers are real numbers. They just ring to the same phone.
Right.
So that business would have the option of getting their phone service set up to have another number that all rings to that same number, which you could do without having to get a tracking number. Yeah, or if they wanted to go get a tracking number, they could get the tracking number and have it ring there, and it's still going to ring to the same place.
I think this one.
Or why would they not use the same number? Are they saying they have two different businesses at the same address and they're wanting to use the same phone number for both? So he's worried about maybe that's the question.
Yeah, I think the answer is yeah, you're going to need another real number, right? Because your tracking number is going to point to a phone number. Basically, it's going to forward to that phone number. So, but you don't want it to go to the other business because I'm assuming that they answer, "Hi, this is Greg's underwater basket weaving class." And if your other business is not a Greg's basket weaving class, which I assume it's not, then you definitely, of course, want people to call the correct number. So I would have the tracking number and have that go to a new phone number. I think that's how that goes.
Yep. Next question for you.
All right.
Oh, wait. Did you answer that one or did I?
You did, and then I followed up.
Okay, so then you're up next. I get confused, man. It's been a long week. Okay, Kim asked, I work with a financial planner who happens to use the address of his shared office. Yes, I know. Which also has other financial planners, including financial planners from other states. that appear to just be using the address. Not only that, but there are other financial planners in buildings in the same vicinity. The vicinity update hit his rankings hard. I updated his citations, but that hasn't helped all that much. I've suggested home address and service area biz, but I'm not sure that will be any better for him. Any ideas?
Your last line is absolutely correct. Home address, service area. So you got two issues going on here, really. The first issue is going to be the biggest one. And that is that basically the primary category is being everybody's using financial planner. So they're all clustered in this one location. You got basically around, I think if two categories are within 200 feet of each other, one of them wins, the others lose. And it's permanent, by the way. There's nothing you can do to fix that. So the only thing you can do is move, basically. So yes, I would do the home service area based business. And yeah, actually, that's really all there is to it. You're welcome, Kim. All right. For you, buddy, Al Anthony has a question for you. Filed numerous business redressal forms for valid spammy business addresses for certain businesses in a major downtown area. Google does not remove the listings, so I keep doing it. I am no longer getting email confirmation of my form submissions. Has Google started discounting my spam complaints in general?
So first of all, I would ask if you're also using suggest and edit, because typically when you're fighting spam, you want to at least try both suggest and edit and redressal. And if you've done both of those and still nothing has changed, and you've got evidence, because sometimes people are like, oh, that's spammy, and you don't really know that it's spammy and it really isn't. But if you know that it's a fake address, then yeah, I mean, you could go to support, you could go to the forum. There's other options to go to. Forum's probably a little easier. But again, if you're going to go to the forum, you've got to have evidence that that's a fake address, because nobody's going to escalate that for you if you're just like, hey, this is a fake address. You're going to have photos or some sort of documentation that that that's not a real location.
Yeah, a couple things here. Number one, definitely don't want to go to the forums. Sorry, dude. If you do go to the community, do not provide the proof. Go to the community only with your redressal ID. That's it. We don't want any other permanent, no other private information about the business. Otherwise, you can be singled out and attacked. We've actually had that happen, which is why we don't want that information in the forum. People do it, true, but you're not supposed to. And the second piece to this is this. I'm skeptical that you're not getting an email about the redressal form. The system doesn't function that way unless I would check your local guide account, basically. So your Google account could be flagged. But if it's going to be flagged, you'll know it when you go to the local guide, localguidesconnect.com. I believe if you log in there, it's going to tell you like your account is suspended or something like that. It's a possibility. I've really never, ever seen this happen to anybody. So that's why I'm skeptical. So what I would do is I would just double check what account you're logged in as. And then
he said his local guide account was suspended.
Oh, he did? Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, they're ignoring you. Absolutely. That's why you're not getting emails. So because you basically, congrats, got reinstated today. So then
I bet they'll start paying attention again.
Yes. So you'll probably go ahead and you'll probably get the case IDs then. Okay, cool. You're absolutely welcome. Okay.
The next question is for you from my buddy Max.
This is for you, buddy. This is all you.
Okay, I'll take it. Max asks, I have a dealer with a bunch of departments in GBP. We have no access. How do we delete them? Max, just email me. I'll help you out. Yeah, I mean, first, I would wonder why you'd want to delete them. You know enough about this. I would assume that you're asking because they're extra departments that they really shouldn't have and they got set up. So now you need to delete them, but you don't have access to delete them. The easiest thing would just be go claim them first. And then once you claim them, you can mark them as permanently closed and get rid of them that way. That's really the best route to go.
Rock on, man. Okay. So let's see.
And next one for you is from Kathleen. There are quite a number of realtors in a local agency that have moved from one location to another. Basically, they all need to update their listings and key citations. Am I correct that you recommended that they all use their home addresses and hide them?
Yes. Basically. I mean, again, if you have too many realtors all at the same address, which is the brokerage, then, usually only one's going to win. So yeah, moving them away from the brokerage is usually the best idea. Okay. Hopefully that answers your question.
We're getting lots of questions this week. I love this.
Love this, man. Live questions. All right. Doug has a question for you, Greg. What are the effects if the business changed its name, but everything else remains the same?
It depends. If you're changing your business name and it's some generic name, really nothing's going to happen. Potentially, maybe you get suspended. If it's a particularly spammy vertical, you might get suspended for that quality check. The only implication would be if you are changing from a business name that happened to have some keyword phrases in it and the new business name doesn't, then that would potentially cause a drop in visibility. So if it was changing from Greg's Underwater Basket Weaving Studio to Greg and Ben's Basket Mania, then yeah, you're not going to show up well for Underwater Basket Weaving Studio or Underwater Basket Weaving because it doesn't have that keyword phrase in the business name anymore. But other than that, there's really no implication in changing the name of the business.
Yeah. 100%, man. Kathleen had a follow-up, except the realtors who already have used the brokerage address don't want to change the address. Well, that's on them, Kathleen. That not your problem. And so they can keep it, but again, somebody's going to get filtered. And I'm assuming that the ones that is not filtered probably wants to keep the address. Of course, that definitely makes sense. Okay. So next question. Let's see. I think this one's mine, right?
Next one is for you.
All right.
And we have another practitioner question from Steven. If a practitioner has a GBP and the practice/business also has a GBP, which is a one-man practice, and the practitioner owns the practice, where would you suggest users place their reviews?
Okay. Great question. You see this with lawyers all the time. So, because like lawyers, basically anybody who has a practice, which is usually real estate, insurance, or law. So, but where to put the reviews? It is going to depend. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, we need to get that closer to the mic. So why it depends is because it depends on how you run your business. Diffusing the reviews between different profiles is probably not the wisest idea in the entire world. So realistically, you probably just want to go ahead and focus on the practice. However, where it depends depends on how people do business with you. So do they do business with you personally, or do they do business with the practice? And like in the case of real estate, it's usually going to be the practitioner that people are searching for, right? Because you have your own network, people do referrals, etc. So if I'm interested in doing real estate, I'm going to be looking for Greg Gifford. I'm not going to be looking for Greg Gifford's real estate brokerage, whatever. So yeah. So it does depend. I would absolutely suggest focusing on the GBP, which is the most relevant to your business.
I would also wonder why, if it is a one-man practice and the owner owns the practice, why would he also have a practitioner listing for himself? Like if you're a one-man show, or even if it's like a law firm and you've got like a receptionist and a paralegal, but if you own the firm and you're the attorney there, why would you get a practitioner listing for yourself? It's just kind of redundant at that point.
Exactly. Google automatically created the practitioner listing. This does happen. In that case, if it is if it is unclaimed, Stephen, you can reach out to Google and say, "Hey, I want to merge this or remove it from maps." That's the road that I would go. Is just reach out to support. They'll take care of it for you because they don't want listings out there that are junk.
And so then, that was a. Why can I not keep track of whose turn it is to ask questions?
I don't know.
It's easier when it's on the other board and we see whose name's assigned to it. I think it's. Wait. That was your question. I asked you that.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I answered a little bit after. So now you're up. You asked me.
Okay. Whatever. Okay. So Wiley Evans has a question for you. A client has a correct listing and a duplicate listing, but GBP keeps automatically directing us to the duplicate when we try to claim the correct one. We've tried multiple times and it just always just directs us to claim the duplicate. Any suggestions other than contacting support and posting in local search forums? The correct listing has been claimed, but the client can't remember their login. Hey, that's a fun one.
Geez. Okay. So they have a correct listing and they have a duplicate listing, but when they try to reclaim the original one, they get redirected to claim the duplicate. Man, I would just go to support on this one. Like
I wouldn't.
No. What would you do? Would you claim the duplicate and kill it and then try to claim the other one?
No. So this is actually, I can understand why it's been ruining your life. It would be super, super frustrating. So what I would do is this: support's not going to understand what the heck you're talking about. Okay. They're going to be like, what? Huh? So what I would do is do a Loom video, explain the issue, illustrate the issue. Well, it doesn't have to be more than 30 seconds, by the way, but just quickly explain the issue and then do it. So go into the dashboard, try to claim it. It's going to try to claim the duplicate, and you want to show that. Okay. Next thing you want to do is make a Word doc, put in the dashboard link for the one that you have. Oh, wait, no, you can't get the dashboard link because you don't remember what account it's in. So use the maps link for the one that you want to claim. Call it that in the document, one we want to claim. And then grab the link for the duplicate and put in there, this is the duplicate we wish to have removed. Okay. And then just come to the Google community. Okay. Make a post about it. And then one of the product experts will go ahead and we'll help you out there. If you want, you can just go ahead and shoot me the thread from the community, and I can go ahead and escalate it for you. But this is a situation that support's just not equipped to handle whatsoever. It's considered an edge case. All right. This is for you, buddy. All right. Actually, is it my turn?
I asked you that one, so you asked me this one.
I need coffee now. Okay.
All right.
One of my clients is the MLB. They need to have two. Wait, it's a MLB. Oh, one of my clients is an MLB. They need to have two businesses under each location. Those are legitimately two different businesses, and as such are also approved by Google, so duplicates are not an issue. They have locally optimized landing pages for the general business profile and use generic landing page for the secondary business. One page for each individual location. At their other locations, primary businesses are ranked pretty well, and the traffic is on par with their expectations. This is a long question. Now, we have this anomaly that they opened. It's okay, man. I just don't know if we're going to be able to answer it succinctly. Okay. Now that we have this anomaly that they opened a new business under this particular location, they have a secondary location, which again doesn't have a landing page. And this new location doesn't show up on at all on navigational searches, brand, location, industry. We can see the other branches and the secondary business listed on SERPs, but when we search for location, industry, primary business is also visible. PB is following the same landing page template as locations. What might be the cause?
I mean, it's a brand new location that just opened up. It could just be a time issue. Like if you just opened the new location, it might take some time. It's been a month. Yeah, I mean, it's been a month. That's still pretty new. So it could just be Google trying to figure out what's there. Under this particular location, they have the secondary location, which doesn't have a landing page.
He's saying it's showing up on industry search, but not when you do brand, location, industry. Is it a generic name for a business? Like, no. Okay.
I mean, could you give us when you're saying it doesn't show up on navigational searches, can you tell us like what that search would be? Like just type it in there. I mean, you're clearly listening in chat. Yeah, what's that search phrase? If you're looking for that instead of generic brand, location, industry, what would you actually be typing and not see the answer? XY Hospital, Brooklyn. So you're actually saying, gotcha. So the problem is when you do XY Hospital, Brooklyn, you don't show up at all.
Try XY Hospital, Brooklyn with the zip code. No, it's not a normal search, but it can help you debug. But he shows up on Hospital, Brooklyn. Okay, so that's brand confusion. Basically is what it is. Yeah, that's a Google search issue. That is not a Google business profile issue, just so you know. Is it a major brand? Like, do they have a Wikipedia entry? Are they cited? A lot. It's a major brand, so they probably are cited a lot. Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. That is showing up for a generic term, the phrase, but not showing up for the name of the business.
Yeah, that's odd.
Yeah. Does it show up for just the name of the business with no descriptor? Okay. Well, let's move on to Fern's question and let's see what he comes back with.
All right. So I have a niche market. So I am focusing on that in my H1 on my homepage, which is about law firm marketing. I was already established in the area, but I've rebranded with a new website. My new business name is General, but the H1 is about lawyers. I do advertising and digital marketing for all professionals, including dentists and retail. I am concerned I will turn off the retail or small business market when my focus keyword is about lawyers. That is why the business name is generic to do with internet marketing. Do I list the industries I work with and it is not just lawyers? Is that sufficient?
So for this one, I'm going to lean back on user experience. So if you're wanting to get business in not just the legal field, so dentists and retail, then you probably need to list out the industries that you serve, basically. I wouldn't I wouldn't focus on the whole aspect of, well, do I do it in this H1 or not? You know, something like that. I focus on the user. Yeah.
But also, you shouldn't be trying to rank for all of those things with your homepage, because your homepage, you're not going to be able to show up for legal digital marketing and dental digital marketing and retail digital marketing. Those are three really different things. So you're going to have your home page be more generic about, we do digital marketing for multiple industries. And then maybe you could have some little snippets there about, hey, we do stuff for dentists. And then that links over to a page about dentists. Again, back to what I said earlier, the concept of if you want to show us a search result, you need a page of content about that concept on your site. So you should have a page about legal marketing, a page about dental marketing, and a page about retail marketing, and not really concentrate so much about what do you do on the homepage H1.
Yep, exactly. And let's see.
And we're at time.
We are at time. We have one last question. We might as well do it.
I'll give it to you then. Do permanently closed businesses eventually disappear from the listings?
Most of the time, yes. All the time? Kind of. Not really. Sometimes. So it falls into the it depends category. Exactly. So yeah, they're supposed to drop off, yes. But they don't always, unfortunately. So you can always reach out to support, but they may or may not be helpful. That's about it. Oh, timeline, usually 3 months, just so you know, 1 to 3 months. And with that, we have another session of the Local Marketing Institute Q&A live on the books with Greg Gifford and Ben Fisher. Thank you all for coming. You guys are amazing. We had some fantastic questions today. Thank you. Thank you for asking the questions. We love it. And that's what we're here for. We're here to help. So if you need us over the next 2 weeks, you can DM us on Twitter, or you can just reach us on Local Marketing Institute Connect. Greg and I are on there as much as we can, and we're happy to help. So with that, everybody have a wonderful week. Oh, yes.
And if you've got questions you want answered on the next episode in 2 weeks, make sure you go submit them so that we've got them stocked up and ready to go.
Yes, absolutely. Cool. With that, see you, buddy. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you.